Hey everyone, hope you enjoyed or at least had the opportunity to watch the City Fund Overview video that I just posted. This is a continuation of the information about city finances, and tonight the goal that I have is that you'll be able to know how and where to get the financial information that so that you can take a look at it, and a little bit about how to read what's in it. So we'll go ahead and get started straight away. I'm going to pop up my browser here. Hopefully that you can see that. And we'll just go ahead and go to the city website. Once you get to the city website, if you'll go to this government menu and pop City Council down, you'll notice on the left is all of our minutes for our City Council meetings and the agendas. Now, the reason why I know I can go here is because by law, we have to, I, the mayor, have to present to the City Council monthly the financial information for our city for their review. And the reason why I do that is because, it's for a great reason, because they own the budget. It's their budget. The mayor prepares it, and we go through a long process of preparing a budget, and then in May we have to have it presented to the town council, city council, and then in June the city council, including any modifications they want to make to it, basically approve that, and it becomes our budget for the next fiscal year, which starts on July 1st. So at that point in time, when that's approved, they kind of own that budget. It's theirs. I have to live within it. I can't spend money that was not approved in the budget. So, I get to spend it, but at the end of the day, they own it. They basically tell me what I can spend it on. So we have to present it back to the town council so that they can review it and make sure that I'm not doing something that was unexpected. That review process is done in typically the second meeting of the month. So the last available financial documents can be found here under August 24th. You click on August 24th and it'll pop you into a list of documentation. This is all the stuff that's supporting the agenda for that night, and one of those things is the financials. So if I pop into the financials, you'll see that we drop straight away into the budget. And it's actually more than the budget. It's the budget and the actuals for up to the point where this budget was printed. So let me increase this font size a little bit here, so you can see that. Hopefully that helps a little bit, and maybe a little smaller. Okay, so the first thing here is the general fund. Now this will be the same kind of layout for all the funds. You'll see it tells you up here at the top, tells you what the fund name is, tells you the report date. So this is only 1 month because it's August, so we haven't finished August. So it's only for the 1 month of July. It's 8.33% of the fiscal year. The first page for the general fund is an overview of the fund. It's got all the totals and all the balances and whatnot in the fund. So go down below that, at the end of that. You're welcome to look at it. I mean, just want to show you that it's there. And then in the general fund, you'll start seeing the change in revenue or change in position for the year. Now, you can tell this is where we kind of get into the budgeting process, because over here on the right-hand side, there's the original budget and a revised budget. Well, there's no revisions. We're early in the year. There's no revisions. There's very few actually as we go along. But needless to say, this is where we start showing how we budgeted the money and how it's being spent. So the first thing that you'll see is our revenue. So for the general fund, it's taxes and licenses. And all this comes in. It shows you here what the prior year for those line items. It shows you what our current actual year, so how much we've done so far, which is 1 month's worth, and what we budgeted. So you could tell very quickly. Now, not every report's going to look exactly the same. Sometimes we repent it and it shows a percentage of how much we've spent or income or whatever. But generally speaking, on these reports, you can always find the prior year spend, the original budget, how much we've spent so far this year, and this column is just merely how much we spent basically the last month. And on the left, you'll see, here's again the revenue, taxes. We do charge for some services, particularly around zoning and subdivision and whatnot, miscellaneous revenue, and then we end the revenue section. And then we have all the list of expenditures. So you can look through all those expenditures. It starts with, the government, how much the administration of our city costs and how much the city council costs, and some things about things we outsource, like our planner and our engineer and our attorney and the kinds of things that we don't have on staff, but that we require. It's our police and our fire and all the different kinds of things. Here's our roads and parks. And if you looked at the previous video, by the time you got to the end, it said two of the main things we fund out of this is the parks and roads, and that's a big deal. So we have that. We have some transfers. We'll go into this deep dive. These transfers are all approved in our original budget that we set for the year. So there's no budget amendments. It's all done at the first of the year, and we'll go deeper detail in another video on some of these things. Now we go into the parks. Parks is more of a savings account of the general fund. We move the money out, put it in parks, kind of keeps there for us, a way for us to track how much money we've set aside in the park without it being all mixed into the general fund. So we have the park fund, and again, it just shows you what our assets are and our liabilities. That's that overview page, and then the next page, what we're planning on, our revenues and what we're going to get park engineering and whatnot. This includes impact fees, which we'll talk about later another time, because they're completely a different kind of animal. Then you got capital facilities, future improvements. This would be, things if, building a building or whatever that we need to set aside money for as we go along, usually over a long period of time. Future improvements. Again, this is just going to show you where our expenses and revenue comes from. Town hall, fire station, we don't have much in that. That was kind of it's a little bit of a legacy fund because we don't have any budget. We're not doing anything active in that account at the moment. It was active when we built the fire station. Fire apparatus. You can think of this as more of a savings kind of fund for the purchase of some of the fire equipment that we need, which can be very expensive. Right now, the big focus on this particular account, fire apparatus, would be saving for a down payment of a new fire truck if we needed it. Capital projects. This is another one. It's just another way of putting aside some money that's necessary to replace our equipment. We'll talk about that. Another video shows you that. And then we get down to 51, water fund. This is our first enterprise fund. So think back to the video. It operates a little bit differently. The nice thing about it is, like I said before, these are nice, nice way to manage the specifics of water. And again, here's the overview of the account. A lot of big numbers, but we have a lot of depreciation and assets. And a lot of this is assets in the ground and whatnot, I believe. Anyway, go down here a little bit further. You can see what we're planning for this year for the water fund. It's our original budget, how much we expect, what our income last year was, and the list goes on. And over here on the left, of course, is all of our different expenses and revenue sources. Sewer funds, the same thing. So sewer is going to be the same thing. Again, you can find how much, what our current, overview is, the expenses and the revenue that we're planning, storm drain. These all match up, right? This all matches up on the utility bill. The interesting thing about garbage, though, as we get down here, the solid waste fund, is that wasn't actually a enterprise fund till about 2 years ago. It might be 1. When we decided, we thought that, we realized that we weren't tracking the utility payment to solid waste because it just kind of went into the general fund. And so, we all sat down and agreed that it would be far better for us to create an enterprise account where we could have a specific tracking of that garbage collection. And this gives us a great opportunity now to make sure that we're not mixing money off of our utility bill for other things. It's just a good way. I think it's just a solid, good thing to do. So we went ahead and created this fund. So it's only a couple years old. But it does give us that increased accountability. And then the end of this is kind of just a city overview. Includes all the land and buildings and everything that we have and what our pensions are. And, it's just another kind of set of things that gets reported on this financials that I won't go into more than likely. Anyway, so that's how to get to the financials. Again, you just pop over here to our webpage, drop down into the city council, go to the last meeting of the month. More than likely, you might miss one. You might have to go and check it out. Let's just check out July real quick. See if we can get the financials there. Well, that was the agenda, sorry. I have to check that. Anyway, you can cruise through these and look them up, but you get there and then that's what's on these funds. So I hope that helped clears things up a little bit about where to get it. It's only like 3 clicks, and then you can start understanding how to read the financial document. And I want to just make note that these are macro numbers. Gives you the overall categories and where we are in our income and expenses. Each category we have, of course, a record of everything that goes to every category that's listed here. And upon request that the city council can inspect any of that. But generally, as long as we're running within the budget that they set forth, there's not an awful lot of concern. Nobody's taking any money home in their pockets. We're not using city equipment for personal use. We don't. I'm very adamant not to be, favor any of us for anything. It's trying to be as straight up, forthright as possible, spend the money as wisely as possible for the purposes intended only, and at the same time we want to make sure that our city is financially healthy and that we don't have to be budgeting by crisis, which is what, when I first came in, we were doing almost, it seemed like every meeting. It was always another problem when we were budgeting, we were reacting because of a crisis, and we didn't have the money to spend. And I think we've turned that around, and we have a healthy budget right now. So with that, I will leave you to explore or not the funds, and with an anticipation that you'll join me in video number 3 when we'll do a deep dive, probably in an enterprise fund or 2. So we'll see you on the next video.